So we're live.
Hello, hello.
Oh, we got 4 people on.
Wonderful. Hi, everybody.
I'm waiting for it to show up. Actually, there we go.
We are back at Sweetwater's, and we are in front of, what do they call this?
I don't remember.
It's some kind of wet dragon. Aqua dragon? I don't know. It's too funny.
All right. So I keep on looking up because there's a microphone right above us, and I'm monitoring the audio.
How does it sound?
That sounds pretty good. It can sound better though, so I'm going to get up and
Okay.
adjust the microphone. So y'all keep talk amongst yourselves.
Oh yeah, I hear it. It's kind of echoey. Yeah. Well, we are, Fred and I are really working on building up YouTube presence, and also, it's not only for Rock My Marriage, but also for my, our other businesses. So that is why we're testing this out, and just being in the coffee shop, because of course we want to support our small business friend, and so that is that's part of our reason for being here as well, because it draws attention to his cafe, and we like that. So that
Speak up
is
just a little bit more.
what?
Speak up just a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
Is that better?
I don't know. There's a little delay.
There's a little delay. All right, so listen, you can make comments, so we want you to comment, and so let me put the live chat up. So welcome. Be sure to give us your name and your city and state so we can see from where you are viewing, please, and that way we know who has found us. And let me do a share.
How do you share? This is all some new stuff that we're doing.
Yes, so you're doing share,
Don't
and then
quite
you
understand
do
all this
copy,
stuff.
and then you're going to paste that into
That's not an option.
right there.
Ah,
Copy link.
it looks completely different.
Hi. So who is on? Who is on? So we can see who is able to view. I'm going to post it in the live video in Rock My Marriage.
Okay. I'm going to push it right on the wall.
All right, go for it. Hello.
Post. All right, I've shared. Now I got to go back to the broadcast. That's
Yes.
what I'm going to change.
Yes. All right, so is our audio well?
It's better.
Okay, good.
It's better, but my position, my slouchy position looks pretty poor.
Well,
But
it's
now-
these chairs are,
I'm too tall. Hang on.
the little things we're trying to figure out. All right, so be sure to give us your city and state, so that we have that. All right, we've got live chat is on. All right, very good.
All right. Well, you know what? We need to. I was like, I just turned off my phone, so I lost all the audio.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you feel like we're good.
I think we're good.
Okay, we're good.
We just need to project just a little bit to make sure that we are out there. So once again, this is Marriage Matters Monday. We're coming to you from Sweetwater's here
Coffee,
on
yeah.
Custer. And I've already blanked on the address because it was only last week that I actually learned the address. And the official address is 4701 South Custer Road. 4701 South Custer Road. Today, I'm enjoying a hot lemon ginger tea because I do have a cold and I've been coughing. So if you see me lean off screen like that, that's because I had to clear my throat.
And I am drinking a hot English breakfast, which is my tea of choice.
Yes, that is your tea of choice.
I love my
So
hot
she's
English
getting
breakfast.
caffeinated at night. But tonight on Marriage Matters Monday, we wanted to talk about pink and blue. How men speak, how men hear, and how men see things versus how women speak, how women hear things, and how women see things.
That's correct.
In essence, think of it this way. Men are blue, women are pink.
That's correct.
Everything that a man says, hears, and sees are all through a blue filter. And everything that a woman speaks, hears, and sees are through a pink filter.
And really, the challenge with this is it's like speaking a foreign language. So I'm speaking through pink, but he's hearing through blue. So we don't always, when we're communicating, but we don't always have mutual understanding because we're speaking pink and blue, and it can cause a lot of challenges. And so I was having a conversation with, I was having a text conversation with someone, and I talked about his blue filter won't receive that, and she was like, what is a blue filter? And I was like, oh yeah, we should probably talk about this because it's been a while since we've done anything on pink and blue, so that people are able to just have a fresh take on it, and we can just from our current perspective be able to share more about it.
That's right. And so what we need to remember is that it's not wrong, it's just different. Okay, it's not wrong, it's just different. Take for example, a common phrase that might be heard around your home. Typically around our home, minimally once a week, if not twice a week. And what is said is this exact phrase: I have nothing to wear.
I have nothing to wear. It's so true. I mean, I have plenty of clothes in the closet, but I have nothing to wear. Because when, and here's the thing, when I say I have nothing to wear, you girls who are hearing that, you know exactly what I mean. What I mean, because speaking pink, you're hearing pink, you're thinking, I don't have anything new either. Let's go shopping.
That's right.
But when he says, I have nothing to wear, he's thinking totally differently.
That's right, and you guys know exactly where I am, because when I say I have nothing to wear, what I mean is I have nothing clean to wear.
That's right. It's not wrong, it's just different.
That's right.
And here's the thing, clothing, that seems like a pretty minor thing, but this happens in your marriage all the time. In terms of how pink and blue communicate, how they think, how they hear things, really does change our ability to communicate well. And so it's important that we learn the other person's language. So, for example, Fred is much better at Spanish than I am. So when we went to Cali, Colombia on a mission trip, I'm predominantly all English speaking. So but it was much harder for me. I mean, I know some Spanish, but it was just mentally taxing for me to listen and try to translate in my head and to try to know what to say. And that's oftentimes how you feel in your marriage, that it's mentally taxing. You're trying to understand what your spouse is saying, but it's so different from how you process the world.
That's right. And so when it comes to your spouse, you need to remember that you are going to say and do things without any malintent, without any, ill will. You're just going to be doing you. However, your spouse is not going to receive it in the way that you thought it should go.
Right.
And so what we need to realize is that through our words, if we're not careful with what we say or how we say it, or if we're not patient or understanding of our spouse not understanding, then things can get kind of ugly pretty quickly.
Yes, they can.
That's
Yes,
right.
they can. And this is why we wanted to revisit the pink and blue. So, I'm just thinking about us. Yeah, go to one. Thinking about in our own situation, our own life, our own marriage. Where have we had pink and blue challenges? And but one that we teach all the time when we're doing our marriage weekends has to do with the dialogue. Okay, so it's the holidays, right? So whether you're eating pies or, for me, sweet potato casserole, you're just eating a lot of stuff, and you get on the scale. I get on the scale, and I'm like, my weight, Fred, I've gained weight, and then I follow up with, I have nothing to wear. And so I mean, I have just expressed a true problem to Fred.
That's right. And so, I hear her say all those things about the scale. I hear her say that she has nothing to wear. So, I'm a sensitive guy, trained in the 90s. I know exactly what to do. I go to the Christian bookstore and I see the #1 selling book, Dieting for the Christian Woman. And so I buy the book and I bring the book home. And I'm like, here, honey. And guess what happens? My wife, does she just fawn upon me and shower me with love and affection?
No, that's not how it would go down.
No, how
it
would
would
go
go
down?
down with basically I get steaming mad, hurt, and I'm saying things like, "You have two brains. Two brains. One's lost and the other's out looking for it. Why would you ever think that getting me a diet book is a good idea?"
You said you gained all this weight. Right?
See, that's the difference
Right.
between pink and blue. Now, here's the interesting thing. If I were to say to my friend Kelly that I've gained all this weight, and she were to come to me and go, "Well, girl, I was at the bookstore and I saw this book about how you can lose weight. Maybe we should read it together." I'd be like, "Okay, let's do it." And I wouldn't have any issue with it at all. I would not think anything about it other than, hey, it'd be kind of fun to do it together. So the challenge is, what am I receiving? So Fred speaks through his blue megaphone,
Book.
through the book to me, but I'm receiving it with pink hearing aids. And what I'm hearing is that you don't love me unless I look like a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And that's not going to happen. Not at this age.
All right, you're looking pretty good to me. I like seeing that little uniform.
I know you would. Okay, but let's turn that around. What if I went to the bookstore and I see the lead book, communication, the key to marital bliss, and I get the book and I'm like reading, I'm like, oh, this is so good. So I'm like, I buy the book after I've already read half of it, and I take it home and I'm like reading it more, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. Fred needs to read this, but I know he's busy. I'll just highlight it for him so that he doesn't have to read all of it. He just gets to read part of it. And I put it between his two computer monitors upstairs in the office because I know he's going to see the book.
Oh, I see the book. That's the 3rd book this year. The first 2 books, we had huge fights. This book, it's going to be a fight. Matter of fact, if I say something, I'm in trouble. If I don't say something, I'm still in trouble. So I choose the lesser 2 evils and I don't say anything. I just ignore it. I'll work around that thing and white knuckle it. I will absolutely ignore that book. And you want to know why? Because through that book, pink is saying to blue, I don't respect you unless you change right now. And so that's not going to go over very well.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What happens if I go to the bookstore and I get the communication book and I bring it home to Elizabeth?
You're giving me a communication book? Oh, you want us to communicate better? Oh, I love that. Why don't we read it together? That'd be so fun.
Now, why is it that I give her a diet book and she explodes, but I give her a communication book and she's more in love with me? What is that?
Because pink hears that you love me enough to want to work on our communication. And that just means a lot to me. Not wrong, just different. Sometimes doesn't make any sense, but it's the reality in which we live and within the context of our marriage. So I would love for those of you who are watching, drop a comment on how maybe a pink and blue challenge that you've seen in your marriage, where you're listening to us and you're going, oh, that is why we have had that challenge or we had that fight, because it'll help other people to learn from your situations in your own marriage, as they're reading the comments and getting to see that.
That's right. And here's the thing. When it comes to being blue or being pink, that is who we are. That is who we are because God made us. In his image he made us, man and female he made us. That's what it says in the Bible. But here's the thing, all right? Elizabeth is going to be, just doing her thing, enjoying life, living life, and it's as though she's connected by this long tube to this tank of love, all right? And she needs that love like she needs oxygen to breathe, all right? But I'm going to come along. You can drink more of your caffeinated tea right there now.
I'm tired.
She's sleepy child, sleepy baby. That's why she's drinking caffeine at whatever o'clock at night.
Yes.
9:30, 10:30 for the East Coasters. But so Elizabeth is going to be, living life, everything. When I do things that she sees as loving, like giving her the communication book, she is. Those are deposits into the love tank, and she is just breathing that in. All right.
Yes.
But then I'm going to come along and I'm just going to do something, not even thinking about it, where I'm going to stand on her air hose. And now she's going to be suffocated. And so what do you think she's going to do? Okay, I'm just going to suffocate her.
No, that is not what I'm going to do. I'll probably get physical. Physical.
Yeah.
I want to get physical.
Better stop before we get shut
All
down.
right, sorry. Yes, that's true. Well, that's nothing like the original. But anyway, I'm going to be like, get off my air hose. Like that, I don't like that. And I'm kind of elbowing him, but what it will look different, so it could be that the person yells or the person storms off or it can look different for different people, but for me, I'm a physical touch kind of person, so I'd be like, really?
What I do?
Exactly.
Well, I'm just a big old elephant trying to eat my peanuts, doing my thing. I don't know I'm standing on your air hose.
Yeah.
What?
Well, and so this is something that is important that we understand that when you're reacting negatively to your spouse, it's very likely because your spouse has stepped on your air hose. You see, because for the man, the same is true. The man has an air hose connected to a respect tank. And he is breathing respect like oxygen. He needs it for the very life that is within him.
Yeah.
And as ladies, we're just so busy trying to be hospitable and get everything done, and next thing you know, I'm having a picnic on his air hose. And, he starts to suffocate. But he's not just going to be like, well, I'm just suffocating to die. No, he's going to react. Most men storm off into their man place.
Man cave.
Yes.
Or man retreat, whatever it is. Man hole.
And so the thing is that, and your man might, again, it could be yelling, it could be storming off, it could come in different forms, but the bottom line is he is reacting defensively because you are on his air hose.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not wrong, it's just different. So you have this pink and blue dynamic, you have the love and respect dynamic, and it's important that we're aware of it when we're engaging with our spouse so that we can be sensitive to the needs of our spouse because they are likely going to be different from our needs.
Mm-hmm. And so what we want to emphasize with you is that when you are in that disagreement with your spouse, many times it's because you're feeling disrespected as the man or unloved as the woman. You might think you're arguing about money. You might think you're arguing about the kids. You might think you're arguing about intimacy. And the truth behind all of it is that you're really feeling disrespected for who you are as a man or unloved for who you are
Yes.
as a woman. And so we need to stop and think, what am I feeling? And how am I responding to this?
Yeah.
What is the pink and blue? And can you properly decode what is happening?
And really, because our time is, we rarely ever have enough time to, go into the full depth of what we teach when we're covering these topics. But that idea of decoding, it's taking the time to, in a sense, translate what you just heard or what you just saw into a way that you can understand it, or you pause and you ask questions. So, like some of the questions that Fred and I will ask each other when we sense that we have stepped on the other person's air hose is, did I just say or do something disrespectful? You know, that would be a question that I could ask Fred.
Or I would ask, did I just say or do something unloving?
And sometimes it helps me to go, when he asks me that, it helps me to go, okay, what am I feeling? Did I just feel unloved? You know, I didn't like that. And it gives me an opportunity to respond. It's a way to be proactive and take initiative. And I think that's a real challenge that a lot of couples have, is a lack of being proactive and taking initiative. Rather than dealing with conflict, because conflict is inevitable. You're not going to get around it. Conflict is inevitable. You will have it if you are married. You got two sinful people that are very different trying to live together is not easy. So conflict's going to happen. So it's are you willing to approach the conflict, and how do you approach it? And we're not talking about like storming the gates and, you know, wagging the finger and yelling and those types of things. But it's taking the time to say, hey, I am feeling unloved, or he is feeling disrespected. It's taking the time to express it so that we can work through it.
What you need to realize is that your spouse, gentlemen, your wife, she needs love like she needs oxygen to breathe, and you give it to her as a gift, unconditionally. And the same is true on the opposite side for wives. You need to understand that your husband needs respect like he needs oxygen to breathe, and you should give it to him as a gift,
Yes.
unconditionally. When we don't get that, when we don't have what we need, that's when things get crazy, because without love, she reacts without respect.
And without respect, he reacts without love. And it just creates what we know to be the crazy cycle. Emerson Eggerichs wrote a book called Cracking the Communication Code. And so he teaches what we're sharing with you, which is the crazy cycle. And the crazy cycle is no fun.
No bueno.
It is no fun. Fred and I like to recall that ride at the fair. So Fred and I met in high school, and we would go to the county fair. And
small high school, small
yes,
town, small county.
Everyone
fair.
knew everyone.
That's right.
And there is this ride at the county fair. I haven't been to one in forever, but it's called the Zipper. You get into, like, you willfully put yourself into a cage.
I never did.
And they close the door.
I was never there.
And the cage rocks, and then the ride has you going in a big oval.
We should do this.
Okay.
The cage does this, and then there's a bigger loop
Yes.
that, like, 8 of these cages do this number.
Yes.
All right? So there are 2 people inside the cage, and you're doing this number,
Woo.
and spinning around and around and going around and around.
So here's the thing, the crazy cycle is like the zipper in your life. When you and your husband are on the crazy cycle, likely, especially if you're not addressing the conflict that is a brewing, that crazy cycle will spin off into other crazy cycles. And next thing you know, you got 8 different crazy cycles going on, within the course of 1 week, and you are feeling dizzy. All you want is to get off the ride. You're like begging the ride operator to stop the ride so that you can get out of the cage. And that's oftentimes how people feel in their marriage, because they're just so dizzy from all of the crazy cycles that are going on. Hi, Regina. Yay, we finally got to see.
Well, someone commented.
Yes, a comment. Awesome. Thank you so much for commenting. We really appreciate that. And so that is, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. So we're just going to go back to the importance of you taking the time to actually not allow conflict to brew, but then to be able to face it head on. Because oftentimes, so like take for example, tonight. I'm going to use our example tonight.
What's our example tonight? Am I in trouble?
So we were getting ready to come here to do this broadcast, and I had said we should do love and respect again because of this conversation that I had, and doing it. He's like, "Are you going to grab the notebook?" And I was like, "Well, I don't really think we need the notebook." And his response to me was,
Well, that's pride right there.
and I was like, okay, well, I wasn't even thinking about being prideful about it. I was thinking we were going to have a conversation about pink and blue, and that we're not actually teaching a lesson. We're having more of a conversation about it. But I went up and I got the notebook. I tried to be respectful to his request.
That screwed up face though.
I don't know if it looked like that.
I should have had the camera out. You'd have seen that. What you talking about, Willis?
But I did not like the way that it made me feel.
And I could tell from
Yes.
that face.
And so most of the way here, I was quiet.
Yeah. But I was proactive. I said, I didn't say that you are being prideful. I just want to make sure that we don't go into this with the idea that we got this. That's why we need the notebook. And I have looked down at the notebook many times for some key things to transition this forward in our conversation. So you might not need the notebook. I need the notebook. By the way, guys, if you want to score brownie points with your wife, speaking of notebook, go rent the notebook.
Oh, yes.
That's a freebie.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a freebie
yes,
right there.
That is so true. That is a
That's
great way to
right.
earn brownie points.
That's right.
Oh, hi, Sherry. So good to see you. I still teach my students that, wait. When there is an issue, it's because there is no communication, which leads to lack of understanding. It is the truth. It is the truth. And when we ignore it, or we act like it doesn't exist, or we try to sweep it under the rug, or we just dismiss it like it'll go away, it just comes back worse.
That's
it
right.
comes back
That's
worse.
right. And a good way to know if you're on that crazy cycle, if you're really not understanding the whole pink and blue communication thing with your spouse, is think about, in the middle of that argument, are you saying stuff like, here we go again? Oh, not this again. Oh, same stuff, different day.
You say the same thing
That's
every
right.
time.
Yeah,
You
here we
do
go
the
again.
same thing
That's
every
right.
time.
That's right. And when that crosses your mind, when you speak those words, is when you need to realize that you're on the crazy cycle and you want to get off. But
Yeah.
a lot of people, and this is, no condemnation against you. A lot of people, the answer for getting off is divorce. All right, and we're here to tell you that if you have gone through divorce, that does not make you a lesser person. That does not make you, sub-citizen, substandard, subhuman, any of those things. We all make mistakes. But in God's word, He tells us that He hates divorce. Why does He hate divorce? Because He is the God of reconciliation. All right, and what I know is that if the power of God can raise Jesus from the dead, then He can bring your relationship back from wherever, even if you think that it's dead. And so that's our encouragement for you, is that look and listen and try to understand where your disagreements are going, where they're coming from. You might just be so sensitive. See, here's the thing. You get on that little zipper ride and you start to feel nauseous. What happens if you get on another ride?
Oh, it just makes it worse.
It makes it worse. That's
It just
right.
makes it worse.
That's right. So
Because you can't really shake it. It's not like something that just goes away like that.
No.
Like it kind of hangs in the pit of your stomach.
That's right. And so
Yeah.
you need time. You need some clarity. You need more air. Lots of times they tell you just to breathe.
Oh yeah, oxygen.
That's right. And so when it
Imagine
comes
that.
to those arguments that you're having, when you're having those disagreements, just take a moment rather than just responding, because we're all very quick-witted with the tongue. All right. And the Bible tells us that what great fires get sparked. What great flames get sparked from that little spark of the tongue there. And so we need to watch out for that. So the next time you're in that disagreement with your spouse, ask yourself, am I arguing about facts and logic, or am I arguing because I feel disrespected?
Yep. Or I feel unloved. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And by the way, because Sherry made the comment about her students, teaching her students, I mean, these principles work in friendship, they work in employee to employer or employer to employee relationships. This idea of needing respect and needing love, I mean, these principles can be applied in so many different relational situations. And so we want to encourage you this week, really begin to listen for what am I feeling? Where is the conversation going? Do I feel disrespected or unloved? And work to decode, ask questions, be willing to approach your spouse or that other person with whom you are in and you've had conflict in order to work it out.
That's right. And you will begin to uncover and realize where the pitfalls are, where the mind traps are in your relationship. You know, what just came to me just a minute ago was, you know, one of the greatest things that I see causing huge arguments between husbands and wives is when the wife comes to the husband and says, "Does this make me look fat?"
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Yeah. You know, what do you think the wife is really asking when she's saying, "Does this make me look fat?" What's her bigger concern?
That she looks good.
That's right. Well, you know that because you're pink.
Yeah.
All right. But us guys, we're going to say, "Oh, I'm not making you look fat." Does that answer the question? No. You don't know why? Because the question wasn't really asked in the words; it was in the parenthetical.
That's right.
That's right. We have a
We
whole nother
we need to do a
thing
whole
on
other. We need
parenthetical.
to, yeah.
That's
We've
right.
done some on parenthetical, but we could really do.
That's
We
right.
could really.
We
do
should probably
more.
do that next week.
Yeah.
Questions like, "Does this make me look fat?"
Take out the
Did
trash.
you take out the trash?
Yep.
What else? What else? You know what they are. I know you've all been there. Hello, Ahmed. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you joining us. But yeah, so next week, maybe we'll talk about the parenthetical.
I think it'd be good to revisit that. It's been a
Yeah.
while.
So,
All right,
what is your spouse really asking when they're not asking?
Yeah.
And how to respond without really responding? Or how to really respond what you mean without actually, what is it? How to respond what you really mean even though you're not saying it. Try to figure that one out.
All right. Well, we are Elizabeth and Fred Mahusay. We go live every Monday for Marriage Matters Monday. We are making the transition over to YouTube Live so that the videos can be searched more easily, and we'll be able to have them as a resource for other folks that are wanting to have assistance in their, or just encouragement in their marriage. So we appreciate those of you who tuned in live this evening. We will be back, and we'll post you another link next week on Monday.
That's
And
right.
So
We'll be coming
forward to-
live again from Sweetwater's Cafe, 4701 South Custer Road.
Come and join us if
That's
you're in
right.
the local area.
That's right. Remember, on Mondays are like date night here.
That's
so
right.
You get two beverages.
Two beverages, you get a pastry
You get
for
a
free.
pastry for free, So come on down. We can have some great conversation. We can share some stories of how we have failed horribly at
That's the
relationships, how God's word will encourage you, how God's word will reveal the truth to you for who we are to be as husband and as wife.
All right, you all have a super week. We appreciate you. Take care.